Welcome back to Hold My Drink. I'm your host, India Gantz. And on today's episode, we're going to be talking about my 10 favorite things about being sober. The list could go on and on and on, but I've capped it at 10. And it was just the first 10 things that came to my mind. So if you are sober, great, cool. If you are sober curious, I'm never going to be the one to try to convince you to get sober. But I will say that when I was thinking about getting sober, learning about all the amazing benefits and changes that happen in sobriety kind of put me over the edge, like to go ahead and get sober. So if this happens to do that, great. I'm not trying to convince you, but I do want to just share some of the awesome things that can come from sobriety. And if you're newly sober, these are things that you can look forward to. Early sobriety can be really, really hard in some ways. So I think that focusing on the positives is really, really helpful, especially in those early days when you're like, God, this is difficult. I miss my old life. I'm having to white knuckle this like it's so hard. Focusing on the positives instead of all those negatives that you might be experiencing makes the whole process so much better. And when you start to see these changes come from sobriety, it makes you want to stick with it. So let's get into today's episode and talk all about the positives that can come from sobriety. Welcome to Hold My Drink, a sobriety podcast. This is a no judgment zone. I really freaking like my life without alcohol. You're not alone. I hope you feel seen. Sobriety has changed my life completely. All right, number one is being in tune with my body. I feel like when I was drinking, I would blame everything on drinking, or I would drink to solve a lot of the problems that I was having. Let me give you an example. If my tummy was hurting, I assumed that's because I was 6 beers deep. But maybe it really was because of something else. Maybe I ate something that didn't sit well with me, but I would never have a clue because I would drink all the time. So I had no idea what was actually going on with my body. Also, when I would be feeling faint or have like a tiny bit of a tummy ache, I would literally drink to fix those issues. And the issues were probably there in the first place because I was like needing alcohol because I drank so much, my body needed it. And so when I would feel those ways, I would drink and it would make me feel better. But that could be because I was numbing the pain. That could be because, like I said, my body was dependent on alcohol. So anyways, now that I am sober, I know what's going on with my body. If I get a tummy ache, I think, okay, what did I eat? And I actually learn things about myself like, wow, I don't react well to that particular brand of almond milk. Or like I realized I had a dairy latte today instead of my usual almond milk latte. Maybe the milk is affecting me. Or you wake up and your head is hurting. Maybe it's because you're dehydrated and you need some water. You don't need to continue to dehydrate yourself with alcohol. So it's really cool to be in tune with my body. And that's been a whole new experience and I love it. Even down to like just the other day, I was sitting around and I'm like, wow, I need meat. Like I need to eat some beef. I don't know why. I was just having this super strong craving of I need some protein. But it's so crazy that I could just sense that I needed meat. I've also sensed that, wow, I really need water. And I just would never have been able to be that in tune with my body when I was drinking so heavily. Number 2, waking up every day awake and clear-minded. This is incredible. I wake up every day feeling refreshed. I like coffee because it tastes good. I used to really, really need caffeine to get me going in the morning, and now I just don't. I wake up every morning energized and usually in a really good mood and happy to be awake. I literally go to sleep excited for the morning, which is so cool and such a great feeling because when I was drinking, I would wake up and the first thought in my mind is how many drinks did I have yesterday? I'd be calculating in my head. I'd get really angry at myself. I'd evaluate how I'm feeling. I'd evaluate if I need a hair of the dog and need to start drinking early because I'm feeling so bad. Like every day, the first thought is alcohol. And now that doesn't even cross my mind. I wake up and I'm actually focused on things that are real in this world. What I'm excited to do at work, what I'm going to do at the gym, like what I'm going to eat, or where's my water bottle? I need to hydrate. Or, I wake up and I'm just happy to be alive. And yeah, that's cheesy. But I am. And it's not a morning filled with instant regret from the day before. So that's amazing. Number 3, my metabolism is back. I don't know about you guys, but when I was heavily drinking, I pretty much never got hungry. Um, I didn't like to go out for meals because I was never hungry enough. I'd always rather drink than eat a meal if they're going to be the same amount of calories. Like, let's say I'm having a 600 calorie meal, I would have rather had 6 Coors Lights. That's just how my mind worked, and I never got hungry. I woke up in the morning and I just figured I wasn't like a breakfast person. I would wait until 2, 3, 4 p.m. to have my first meal because I just wouldn't wake up hungry. And that's because the alcohol that was in my body from the night before would keep me fuller longer. And they're not even like substantial calories, they're empty calories from alcohol. But I wouldn't get hungry. I was probably so low on nutrients now that I look back. I fill my body now with so much good stuff. And I think about how when I would be hungry in the evening and I would just drink instead of eating. I mean, that's so bad for the body. But that's what I did. And so now I get hungry and that's really cool. My metabolism is also really good. Like I can eat a lot. I have started working out, by the way. A lot of people are curious. I posted a transformation video on Instagram and TikTok, and a lot of people were curious if that was only from quitting alcohol or if I did other things as well. And about 5 months into my sobriety, I started weightlifting pretty heavily. So I think that has contributed to my transformation, but also to my metabolism improving. I mix in cardio as well with weightlifting, and I think all of that improved my metabolism, but I think quitting alcohol improved it a lot. And I eat a lot. I eat all 3 meals plus some. I eat heavy protein. I get hungry. I wake up and I'm hungry. I wait a few more hours and I am hungry. And it's such a new feeling. And food can be fun, and food is fuel. And I actually enjoy learning about food and fueling my body instead of skipping meals and not filling myself with nutrients. All right, number 4, my memory. I used to always say that I had a bad memory. And I now look back and I really think that's because the details of things would just be fuzzy. If someone told me I said something or did something, I would just have to believe them because I was like, I don't really remember. Did I say that? Or if I thought to myself, well, you said this, I'm like, did they actually say that? I don't know, because the details are so fuzzy. I relied on a lot of other people, and I think that's why sometimes I could almost be manipulated into thinking that something had happened, because I would be like, well, I'm not a good source. My memory sucks because I drink all the time. So now that alcohol is not a part of my life, first of all, I think I have a good memory, and I pride myself on remembering specific details, specific dates, specific things that were said. And nobody can tell me like this didn't happen or you're remembering it wrong. It's like, nope, I remember how it went. And having that confidence in my memory is really special. And life is good. Life is worth remembering and not drinking away all these important moments in your life. So I like actually experiencing life, remembering life, and being proud of my ability to recall details of things that happened to my life, in my life. Number 5, I am free of the stress that alcohol used to cause me about hiding the alcohol. I would drink a lot by myself, and, there'd be 12 beer cans in my garbage, and my boyfriend would come over and offer to take out the trash, and I'm like, no, don't take out the trash, because I know that the cans would be clinking around. There's also a bottle of wine in there from the night before. I didn't want him to take out the trash and hear all those things clinking around and be like, what is all that? So I would always take out the trash before he got there and not let him get near the trash. Let's say I'm bringing a friend over to my house for lunch on a Sunday. And I'd be thinking about oh my God, I didn't have time to clean up my apartment. There are beer cans everywhere. There are beers on the couch. There are beers in the kitchen. There's a half-drank bottle of wine just sitting there, and I'm about to walk in with a friend. That used to stress me out so much. I'd also stress about whether my breath smelled like alcohol. I'd stress about if I was slurring my words. I would stress if I was driving somebody if I had left beer cans under the seats of my car, because I used to always bring drinks to drink before I went into like events and things like that. So I'd be wondering, are there beers under the seat that they're going to discover? Oh, I was so stressed all the time. This is like bringing all those memories back. It was so stressful and like a horrible way to live. I was just constantly filled with anxiety that people would like figure out how much I was drinking. I did it so quietly, and I did it by myself. And for the most part, I think people didn't notice, although maybe they did and I was just blind to it. But I think I hid it pretty well, and I was very high functioning while I was heavily drinking. And so people didn't know that I was a heavy drinker, and I didn't want them to know. So I was constantly stressing about hiding that. It was horrible. So I love that now I am free of the handcuffs of alcohol, and my mind is just so free. I don't have to think about that all the time. There's so many other things to think about in life other than alcohol, obviously. And now my mind is actually filled with those things, real things, not thoughts about alcohol and hiding my alcohol. Kind of piggybacking off of that, number 6 is alcohol is not the focus of all my thoughts anymore. So if I'm going somewhere, let's say I'm going to Disneyland or to an event or to the sports game or to a birthday party, I don't have to always wonder if alcohol will be there. Do we need to bring stuff to pregame? How much will we be drinking? Do we need to do Ubers home? Like, how much money do I need to bring? Because I'm definitely going to buy 6 drinks at the baseball game. Or, it's just, I was constantly planning my life around alcohol. I wouldn't want to go do something if there wasn't going to be alcohol involved. So I'd be thinking about, what are the chances that there's alcohol there? How will I get alcohol? Should I bring some? Like I said, it was just always a game that I was playing in my mind. Like, where am I going to get alcohol? And I hated that. It ran my life, and it would stop me from doing things if alcohol wasn't going to be a part of it. And I would love to do things if alcohol was fully accepted. Like, let's say there was a European soccer game on and it starts at 7 a.m. It's like, great. There is a place where no one will judge you for drinking at 7 a.m. Like, I'm going to that. I don't even watch soccer. I hate soccer. And I would love to go to those because drinking was accepted in the morning. So if it was a place where alcohol is openly accepted and embraced and welcomed, I was so stoked to go there. Alcohol was just at the center of all my thoughts, and it was very frustrating. I was like imprisoned, and now I am free. So cool. This is number 7, I also always had to think about how I would get home from places. And now that is just not a thought. It's crazy. I can always drive myself home. And I like to drive places. I like to drive other people. I like to be the driver because I don't drink. And it's just such peace of mind knowing that you can just simply get in your car and drive home. If you're going out to the club and it's 2 a.m., you can still drive yourself home. You're 100% not going to be drunk or tipsy or in an unsafe position to drive. I can always drive. It's wild. I don't have to calculate how much Ubers will be, or if one of us should drink less and DD. I don't have to think about any of that. I can always get myself home safely. I think about back to the baseball game example. Like when I was living in LA, Dodger Stadium was really far away from where I was living. It was like an hour 30, 2 hours with traffic. And so we'd be thinking about like, okay, so we're going to get to the game. We're going to pregame in the parking lot. We're going to go in. We're definitely going to have some drinks. And then we're going to have to get home. So should one of us not drink? But that would ruin the whole experience. Should we get an Uber? Well, that's going to be like $200 because it's so far. So that's like a waste of money. Should we just not go? It's too far. And neither of us don't want to drink. Neither of us want to pay $200 for an Uber. It's just not worth it. Like, I would let alcohol determine whether or not I do an activity. And that is just horrible. Especially, with the driving arrangements and the Ubers and getting myself home. Like, now I know that if I go to that baseball game, I can drive the hour and a half, 2 hours back home, no problem. I'm going to enjoy the time that I'm there, enjoy the baseball game, and then just drive myself home. There's no stress. And knowing that I am the person who will get us home makes me feel really good. When I go out with friends, it's like they don't have to worry about it. Like, I got us. And it's a really nice feeling. Okay, number 8 on my list is I have control over my feelings and my behaviors. I think before I speak, and that is a favorite thing of mine in sobriety. I treat people a lot better. I think the family and friends that I have in my life are probably very grateful that I am sober, because I am a better person. I'm nicer. I'm more understanding. I don't instantly lash out with some snarky comment if I don't like something that happened. I think about what was said. I think about why that bothered me, and I calmly move forward from there. Whether that's, let's leave this one, it's not worth it, or whether that's, I'm going to say something in a polite way. Gosh, not drinking has just totally neutralized my reactions to situations, and I'm so much calmer and kinder and just a better person overall. So that's definitely a favorite thing of mine. Number 9, now this is a physical, cosmetic one, but I will say my skin, my jawline, my face, my head, okay? My freaking head. I look so much better. Not to toot my own horn, but like, I actually feel pretty again. There was a period of time where I was like, I'm not pretty at all. I don't like the way I look. I don't like the way I look. My face is round. It's bloated. It's red. It has a greenish, purplish hue to it in the mornings. You can see my veins. I'm puffy. My smile hardly fits in my face. Like, I hated the way I looked, not to mention my body that I was dealing with as well, but my face. I had, I modeled for, this will be like my 13th year as a model. And so I was kind of used to having a face card, if you know what I mean. I liked the way I looked. I won America's Next Top Model. Obviously, other people kind of liked the way I looked. I'm trying not to sound too freaking egotistical, but I'm just saying that, like, I modeled. Clearly, there was something about my face structure that society liked. And when I started heavily drinking, all those features that I liked about myself went away. The sparkle in my eyes, my cheekbones, my jawbone, my even skin tone and texture. All of that was ruined with alcohol. And I didn't look like myself, and I didn't feel confident, and it was horrible. And when I got sober, I started to love myself again. I got some features back that are important to me. My skin just like fit my face. It wasn't squishy and bloated and round. I got some life into my eyes again, and my smile is brighter and bigger, and I'm confident. And that's a really special feeling. Going through life feeling not confident in yourself and like operating from a place of self-hate is not a great way to live. And so I feel a lot better in that way, and sobriety has given me that. So I'm very grateful to sobriety for providing me with that. Number 10. I feel like there are so many more things I could have put on this list. But right before I recorded this episode, I just sat down and wrote the 10 first things that came to my mind. So although there are so many more benefits, these are the 10 that came to mind. And this is the last one that I have on my list here. And that is saving money. I used to spend $100+ at the bar multiple times per week, not to mention the cases of Coors Lights and bottles of red wine that I was buying in addition to all that at the Total Wine and More or the grocery store or Bevmo or whatever. But when I would go out, I spent so much money and I wouldn't even think about it. I mean, I'm thinking, God, how did I even afford my life back then? It was crazy. I guess I just prioritized money in different ways. Like back then, drinking was my number one priority. Spending money on alcohol, it's like obviously number one. That's where I put my money. Just the other day, I got these drinks. They're recess drinks. Amazing. They're an adaptogen drink, very light, sparkling water with adaptogens and I don't know, some like botanicals or something. I don't know. They're amazing and really great for early sobriety, by the way. If you're looking for a drink to kind of ease you out of that alcohol dependency, recess drinks are amazing. Oh my God. I feel like they were my savior during that time. But anyway, they're supposed to like kind of calm you down, and they taste so good. My favorites are the strawberry rose and the raspberry lemon. Love it. Anyway, so I bought some recess drinks, and my family saw them and they were like, what are these? They looked them up and they're like, oh my God, those are kind of expensive. I think it's $42 for a 12 pack, if I'm not mistaken. So that's kind of expensive, I guess, when you think about like soda or sparkling waters. That's a little pricey. And that's when I buy them in bulk, the 12 pack. They also sell them individually, like at Target, for I think $4.29 or something. Like, they're expensive. And I was thinking to myself, $42 for 12. And I probably have like 1 to 3 a night, and then I'll skip days. So, a 12 pack lasts me a couple weeks. And that's $42 for a couple weeks. I used to spend $120 in the bar 4 times per week. Like, easily. And I'm freaking out about a $42 pack of 12 recess drinks. What is life? I totally think of money differently, and I gotta not give myself any crap for spending $42 on the recess drinks. Like, we're good. Okay, this is a big improvement from before when I was spending so much money on alcohol. Like I said, $120 a week, $120 4 times per week, plus all the drinks I was buying for myself at home. Oh my God. I don't even want to know how much I was spending, but I actually do know how much I was spending because I put it into my I Am Sober app. I always talk about this. It's the sobriety tracking app that I use. 244 days sober today. Wow, so cool. On the day that I'm recording this, I'm 7 months and 30 days sober, aka tomorrow, I am 8 months sober. So very exciting. But in this sobriety app, I Am Sober, you can also track how much money you spent on alcohol and how much you've saved in sobriety. So I'm just going to look now. So far, I have saved money saved $4,880 in 8 months. Oh my God. Round that up, $5,000 I've saved so far. I mean, that's huge. Think about if you got a $5,000 bonus on your salary. So let's say you make $75,000 a year and then you get bumped up to $80,000. That's like a decent jump, if you ask me. That's a really good jump. And that is a good amount of money. You'd feel really good about earning that much extra money. And by quitting alcohol, I have saved that much money. Almost $5,000 in 8 months. Not even a full year. That's amazing. And right below it says calories saved, 195,200. About 200,000 calories saved in 8 months. Oh my God. That's so much. That's a lot of Coors Lights. At 100 calories per Coors Light, 200,000 calories. Do the math. Is that 20,000 Coors Lights? No. 2,000 Coors Lights? Holy frick. That's a lot. So yeah, $5,000 I've saved. And that is a large amount, and it feels really cool. Like, I don't feel like I have an abundance of money. I'm still looking for work, by the way, as a social media manager or influencer marketing manager, if you know anybody. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, so I'm not like making a ton of money right now, but I don't feel like I have some abundance of money because I'm not drinking. But I do feel better about my finances because I'm not signing a check for $100 constantly. It's like a special treat when we go out and $100 is spent. By the way, when you go out for dinner and alcohol is not involved, your bill is so cheap. It's not that expensive to go out to dinner. Like, you can go to Red Robin. That's down the street. So I was just thinking like Red Robin. Get yourself a salad. Get the mozzarella twists. Delish. Get some soda. Get a non-alcoholic beer, whatever. And you're signing the check for freaking $28. And you're like, what? I just went out to dinner. That's crazy. And it's because there's no alcohol. Your bills are so much smaller without alcohol. And every time you go to the grocery store, maybe you only spend like $100, $150 on groceries instead of $300 because you're stocking up on booze. Wow, the money thing is just wild. So those are my 10 things among many, many others. And I hope you enjoyed listening. I'm feeling so happy. I'm feeling so grateful. Sobriety is cool. Sobriety is hot. And I like being on this side of things. So if you feel like sharing this with somebody who is thinking about getting sober or is newly sober, please do share with them. Word of mouth is the number one way that podcasts are discovered. So if you could share this with somebody that you know or think would like it, that would be amazing. Thank you so much. And thanks for tuning in. I will see you guys for the next episode. Bye.